been talking to several of your community members, and there are a lot of them, some of you in this room who don't believe that climate change is actually impacted by what human beings do. There are many of us on the march who would like to engage with you in that conversation because we're dedicating this year of our life to emphasize that we believe that it really does. There are two movies I would commend to you. One is Chasing Ice by James Baylog. He lives in Boulder, Colorado, and it's all about watching the glaciers of the planet recede in non-geological time. Charlie, you and I just have had a conversation about Brewing Glacier in Homer, Alaska, and I reported to Charlie that in the last 17 years, 40% of the volume of that glacier has decreased. And then, Charlie, do you remember what I asked you?
I'm very old now,
I asked Charlie, does that seem like a normal rate of receding for glaciers? And you answered.
I said I sounded kind of unusual, that's right.
Charlie has worked his entire life to manifest effective processes for mining in coal and uranium. Charlie is an expert geologist. Charlie reports to all of us here that those glaciers receding in that time period is not natural. What does that lead us to conclude? We are having an impact on the climate in which we are living. We're not marching to save the earth. We're marching to save the habitat in which human beings can survive. Many years ago, have any of you heard of the 13 indigenous grandmothers? So they are a group of grandmothers from native cultures around the planet who've gotten together. They told me decades ago, right after they got together, they said, Kat, no matter what you do, make sure that you take care of the water. And right here in San Luis, this region, you know that your water is the most precious resource that you have. You know that there are other ways that you can get energy. You've gotten energy through coal in the past. You still have 5 active mines here in this area. When I talked to Charlie, what will happen tomorrow when President Obama puts dramatic regulations on coal-fired power plants? What impact might that have, Charlie, on those coal mines? And you responded?
Well, they will slowly, some of them will slowly close.
Right. So this is the future that we're seeing in a 21st century energized America. So if the coal-fired plants decline because the cost of energy from fossil fuels will continue to rise as the cost of producing energy through solar, wind, geothermal, biomass declines, we're at the sweet spot right now. And here in this valley, you are actively engaged in the collaborative conversation about how do we take advantage of all of this sun that we have in our community. Well, there's a leverage point. And there's also a point to think about how do we distribute that? How do we gather it? I spoke with your, a couple of us had showers last night. And those of you who haven't, you're welcome to join us. We spoke with the lodge owner, and he was radically misinformed about the cost of putting solar panels on his 50 by 100 foot flat roof. He thought it would cost $500,000. In fact, it's only $30,000, and it will generate 6 kilowatts of energy. That cost of doing business for him as a business owner can be transferred into a profit center. We need to rethink our 21st century energy. So these TED Talks, Technology, Entertainment, and Design, I organized that independent event in Vail, Colorado, which is also where I live. And we're going to be the first out of 1,000 events that happen annually in Vail, Colorado, as the first zero waste event. Where's Mary? Zero waste. We're on your team. All right. Yeah, so So what is that to say? That we need to think bigger, broader. We are a species right now in this moment trying to figure out how to survive in a new 21st century mindset. Nicole, I know you're really, really passionate about figuring out how do we get the solar power energy from this valley out into the rest of the world. In Alaska, we get paid because we produce more oil than we use. What would happen if here you could get paid for a profit from the solar energy that you gather for free every single day? But distribution is the problem. So that's the technological question that the collaborative conversation needs to go to. Ask the right question, not the question of why is the guy who has all of this nature conservancy over here not letting us get through? But the question is, how can we take care of all species for all time? Not just how can we take care of our species right now in this generation, and that's the path we have to take. So, let's think about clean, green, free, 21st century energy. And I know you guys have the solution. Ask the right questions, press on the leverage points, and fluff up the passionaries. If they've been tired and worn out from old campaigns, what can we do as marchers to help you in that? So, that's it.